Hey there, it's another beautiful day and I've got my coffee. Let's watch some stuff.
6 days until the Great American Eclipse, and this is what you don't know about 3 days of darkness. The solar eclipse on April 8th has stirred interest and concern related to biblical prophecy. It will be a total eclipse visible across the U.S., which won't happen again for 20 years. And it is not just any eclipse like the ones we have seen before, as it will be on the same day as the 3 days of darkness in Egypt. During an eclipse, the moon blocks the sun temporarily, but beyond its visual spectacle, people see connections to warnings in Scripture about signs from God. In the biblical scriptures, astronomical phenomena are alluded to as warning signs, as the Bible tells us in Joel 2 verse 31. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the great and dreadful day of the Lord comes. A past eclipse on August 24, 2017, went through 7 cities named Salem. Another eclipse will cross America with a similar pattern over 7 cities called Nineveh, as in the book of Jonah. The word Salem, according to the Bible, is peace. So God is said to have offered peace 7 times through these signs. This next eclipse crosses Nineveh cities and makes a perfect cross on the center of the nation. Right in the center of the cross is a city called Rapture. What is God's message? He's coming very, very soon.
We're actually down to 5 days now. I hope you're ready. It sure is interesting, though, how many references to the Bible there have been surrounding this eclipse. I'm sure there's been more surrounding all of the other eclipses that we've had, but I've never really focused on what other people are saying about events like this. Usually it's just whatever they say in the news, and it's like, oh, hey, here it is, there it goes, end of story. I never actually dug deep. So it's really interesting to find all of these references that people are pulling out of, their beliefs and everything to create something fantastic. I'm still believing that and nothing's going to happen, but it is fun to, learn what other people think. Excuse me while I pop in here a moment, and thank you so much for joining me for today's coffee talk. If there's a topic that you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get it in one of my upcoming videos. If you're having a good time, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button and come back tomorrow because I'm making a new video every day.
Further that you look into dark history, you start to realize just how dark it really is. This woman behind me, this is Lorleen Wallace. She was the first female governor of Alabama, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. Dark history for Lorleen was that, legally, doctors did not have to tell her. They only told her husband. Really let that sink in. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, terminal cancer, and only her husband was told. Her husband decided not to tell her. Legally, he didn't have to. It was thought at the time that women's nerves were too fragile to be able to handle news like this, so only their husbands were told. I think we're probably going to cover this on the podcast because this is actually a pretty in-depth story if you want to listen. Basically, the way this story ends is that Lorleen, she does become governor. She runs, but she only lives through the first year of her term. She was never initially told she was dying.
I guess I don't understand what some women are complaining about these days. I think we've got it pretty good. We get our own diagnoses. Our lives aren't in the hands of our husbands. And we get to decide what we want to do with our lives.
Cataloged 69 different species, different life forms. There's one species that at full adulthood is about 1.5 feet. There's another species that's 10 or 12 feet. The ones that people often refer to are around 3 to 4 feet, 39 inches or so tall. We have very good forensic drawings from men who've been on the retrieval teams of what these various species look like. The reason they keep coming back, number one, is not a coincidence that the modern era of all this started when we started detonating atomic bombs. What Edward Teller and Oppenheimer didn't understand when they were developing that is that when you detonate an atomic bomb, you get, everybody knows about an electromagnetic pulse, the pulse that goes out, knocks out all electronic communication. What people didn't know about is there's also a pulse of what's called scalar energy. And scalar is faster than the speed of light.
I had no idea there was that many cataloged aliens. I know of like maybe 6, 10 at the most, but not 69. That's a lot. But as for scalar energy, I have never even heard of that. So I'm going to look that up real quick, and I'm going to pop a video in here because we're using this as a learning opportunity.
Okay, so I just want everybody to see this real quick. Obviously, this is the path of the solar eclipse. It's going to be on Monday, the 8th of April. So we see this, right? I just want to see if anybody gets a weird feeling for what I'm about to show you. So today's Tuesday. This is happening tonight, okay? Look familiar at all, right? The path there from Arkansas all the way up to Cleveland. Kind of strange, right? And it's pretty bad. Fives and sevens, okay, on a scale, if you'd like to see the index real quick. So this is the Con index, which basically rates tornadoes and the likelihood. And from a 0 to 10, we're talking sevens, people. Let's take a look. Sevens, fives. Yeah. I just think it's really strange. Do you think it's strange? I think it's strange. So the question is how did this mysterious storm just so happen to develop right through the path of the solar eclipse? And if it destroys everything, what's going to be left? And why wouldn't they want us to be in that path right now? So if anything happens, just a thought.
So that was last night. If you live in that area or you know anybody that lives in that area, let me know what it was like. Was it bad? Did it get as bad as it said it was supposed to get? And isn't it super interesting how all of these crazy phenomena and coincidences are happening along that line? Still think it's just going to be a solar eclipse? But these videos are fascinating.
What is scalar energy? What is scalar light? And then I can dive into some really deep questions that I've got.
Scalar energy. I work with scalar energy. It's not electricity. Some people call scalar energy 0 point energy or prana. Some have even used the term consciousness. So this is the quantum field. This is the energy of the universe. Understandably, it's scalar energy is from the sun and the stars. So it is the universal life force energy. You could call it the universal quantum energy. It's not a movement of electrons. This is not an electrical current. This is a different energy spectrum. Nikola Tesla was the first man to experiment with scalar energy by way of instrumentation.
That wasn't as helpful as I thought it was going to be, so I did some looking up on timesofindia.com. I will link it in the description below so you can see for yourself. It says electromagnetic waves, which exist only in the vacuum of empty space, constitute an ocean of infinite energy called scalar energy. Okay. I also found something that says that scalar energy products are alternative medicine products. So it sounds like a little bit of snake oil, which makes me think that maybe that's the vibrations of the earth and everything that's supposed to be healing. I'm not completely sold on that because I personally have not been able to experience it, and I'm sure that's my own fault. But maybe is that what that is? If you know that those are the same things, let me know. And if you know where I can find some good information, also send me a link. I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, check out this link. Hopefully, it'll help you if you haven't heard of scalar energy as well.
A satellite not of human origin has been orbiting Earth and observing humanity for 13,000 years. I am Nikola Tesla. One night in 1899, while conducting experiments with atmospheric electricity and radio waves at my tower in Colorado Springs, I suddenly received a signal. Initially, I thought it originated from the atmosphere, but upon further investigation, I became convinced the signal was from space. This discovery led me to firmly believe in the existence of extraterrestrials, and in 1900 I announced my finding, feeling as though I was uncovering a grand truth. However, people at the time thought I was a bit mad. While the scientific community acknowledged my genius, they also considered me somewhat insane and did not take my discovery seriously. Then, on May 14th, 1954, it was claimed that the U.S. Air Force had discovered one or two unnatural satellites orbiting Earth, transmitting radio signals. This brought new attention to my discovery. By February 11, 1960, the New York Times acknowledged the existence of this satellite, naming it the Black Knight satellite. This sparked a global frenzy of tracking and observing the Black Knight satellite. Whether this satellite is indeed sent by extraterrestrials might soon be unveiled.
Speaking of Nikola Tesla from the last video, he was just a brilliant man, way ahead of his time, and nobody listened to him. And it's a shame. It's a shame. The advances that we could have in technology now, if we had just started listening to him instead of treating him like some insane old fool, right? But then again, it is probably the government shutting him down so that they can continue making their money. It's a damn shame. He really got the crap end of the stick there.
Should we really recreate the Big Bang during the total solar eclipse on April 8th? I don't think so, but CERN seems to think it's a great idea. They are going to turn on the world's most powerful particle accelerator to see exactly what happens seconds after the Big Bang and study dark matter. No, I am not exaggerating one little bit. Recreating the Big Bang is exactly what CERN does. Every time they power up the LHC, which is 17 miles long, I might add, it recreates seconds after the Big Bang, and then they study all the particles that come about. That's how they found the God particle or the Higgs boson particle. Higgs boson particle is fundamental force carrying particle. It gives everything on Earth mass. So without this particle, we'd have nothing. We didn't know about this particle until 2012. How do I think that this is just a bad idea overall? Because Stephen Hawking warned us 10 years ago that this machine could become unstable and create black holes that would suck up everything in existence. He said not to worry about it back then because they would need a much stronger Hadron Collider. They've made it stronger, they've made it bigger in the past 10 years, and they're going to fire it up on April 8th.
All right. I finally found the one thing that is scarier than everything else I've heard about this eclipse so far. I'm not a big fan of the Hadron Collider. I'm not a big fan of it potentially making black holes. I'm not a big fan of it causing the Mandela effect. That's my Achilles heel, the science thing. I'm not looking forward to that. But yeah, I didn't know that that's where this was going to go, and now I'm a little bit freaked out. I don't know why they need to do it on that day when everybody's claiming all these biblical prophecies and red heifer stuff, and oh my gosh. It's just a day. It's just a day. Let's pile all of the bad things onto it.
Have you ever heard about the Black Knight satellite conspiracy theory?
The Black Knight satellite is this object orbiting the Earth right now. This object is massive, 15 tons. We can't launch 15 tons. What is this thing? This thing is emitting a signal, a frequency. Duncan Lewin, another astrophysicist, deciphered the frequency and was saying Boötes constellation Epsilon. I look into ancient texts now. I'm like, this got to be something here. The Boötes constellation is attributed to the ownership of Enlil. These Anunnaki people, they own planets. They own moons and everything. This thing was in a polar orbit. A polar orbit, what does it give you? It gives you the ability to see everything going on the planet, topographical data, resource data, human population data, everything. This thing is transmitting information via quantum entanglement communication. These people are a million years ahead of us. They're a million years ahead of us technologically.
That's the video I was talking about where Billy Carson was talking about the Black Knight satellite being Anunnaki tech. And I think that's super possible, right? So like they left it here when they took off. And then when Nibiru comes back around again, they're just going to like pull the information out of it, right? That sounds about right. That's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Here's my cutting room floor.
3, 2, 1.
There's only 5 days left before the rapture. Just kidding. It's not going to be a rapture. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a solar eclipse. That's it. You're going to be fine. Everybody's going to be okay. I know it said 6 days and we're down to 5. Oh, they're like, hey, I asked you 7 times, for peace. And y'all didn't do it. So here comes this one. I've only known about maybe half a dozen, like maybe 6. We're going to look that up. We being me. I'm going to look that up. I'm going to pull up another video and pop it in here somewhere because I have no clue what scalar energy is. I guess I don't understand what some women are complaining about. I think we've got it pretty good compared to how it used to be. You want to whine about not having equalities. Get out and do some equalities. I love aliens. I'm out there blue collaring it up every single day. Keep whining about wanting equality and then you wonder how many women are bricklayers. How many women are landscapers? How many women are out there doing the grunt work? Be happy with what you've got. It's quite a bit. And nobody's being forced, no women are being forced into the front line. So you shut up. I looked some stuff up. It says they are called longitudinal electromagnetism. Longitudinal electromagnetism. Snake oil, but I found one kind of like it. I think that's a fantastic idea. According to a lot of people, these are our final 5 days. So use it wisely.